Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to your Thursday edition of FSU Weather. We're seeing those showers starting to move out now that we're getting into the later evening hours in Tallahassee. Just some cloud coverage once we get to 10 p.m. As we move through the night, those clouds are going to start to clear out, though. And then by the time we get into late tomorrow morning, into the early afternoon, we're going to see the showers return. Sea breeze is bringing us a lot of the rain that we're seeing in the Big Bend region right now. For this evening, though, temperatures are going to be pretty comfortable. By 10 p.m., getting down to 80, and then 12 a.m., 78. So if you have any evening plans, a great day to do it. No chances for rain, really, either. And then for our three-day forecast, sitting at a 50% chance of rain for Friday and Saturday. And as we get down to Sunday, 30% chance of rain. Temperature sitting at 93 degrees. Sunday is going to be beautiful. For the rest of the show, we're going to talk about how the sea breeze conditions are sticking around, hot conditions for much of the rest of the U.S., and then we're going to talk about the Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 day outlook for precipitation for the rest of the country. But for now, I'm going to pass things off to Zach. He's going to give us our first look at the southeast, where things have been pretty hot.
Thanks, Tyler. Not too much has changed throughout the southeast over the past couple of days. It's just been hot, and we've been seeing a little bit of that rain go through there. The satellite, we're seeing some of that rain sort of creep through the area. We have a lot of the Georgia region seeing some of that rain. We saw some rain in Tallahassee here earlier today as well. And we're having some issues with the clicker here right now. So here's our upper level water vapor pressure. So what we can see in the southeast is that we have these cool spots here. So these cool spots represent areas that have a lot of water vapor up in the air. So that means that there's going to be some chances for some rain to relieve some of these hot temperatures over the next few days. We also see down here in Miami a little bit. So we could be seeing some potential for some heavy rainfall in those areas. And our wind direction, we do have that high pressure system sort of sitting here still from yesterday, lingering around. It shouldn't be a high pressure system too much longer. It's going to be fading out. But we are seeing some high wind directions coming off the coast in Houston, 15-mile-per-hour winds there, 8-mile-per-hour coming on the coast in Tallahassee. We are seeing some of those sea breeze showers this afternoon. Charleston also seeing 14-mile-per-hour, a little bit windy there as well. And our dew points, Tallahassee, not very comfortable. 78 dew point, one of the hottest in the region. Actually, no, New Orleans, 1 degree higher. They got us beat, 79 dew point there. Not very comfortable. So that means that our feels like are much higher than what the actual temperature is. It's currently in Tallahassee, we're sitting at 86 degrees, but our feels like, because that dew point, 98, but a lot of our region is feeling in the hundreds. Tulsa's sitting at 107 feels like temperature. Houston feeling like 101. We're seeing a lot of triple-digit feels like temperatures out there for most of the region in the southeast. And our next 48 hours, we're going to see sort of it start to clear out. We might see a few clouds linger around the area in Tallahassee, but not too many showers into the nighttime hour. In the morning, we should be waking up fairly clear. But then tomorrow in the afternoon, we have that daytime heating, and the storms are going to be returning. We can see a lot of those showers in the Alabama area, some lingering on Georgia, and of course, our typical sea breeze pattern here in Tallahassee. So we'll see that tomorrow, and then that should sort of start to fade away into Saturday morning and into from Friday night. Tonight, down in Tallahassee, we'll be seeing a low of 73 degrees. Montgomery, 73 as well. Some storms lingering around, but not hanging around too long. Should clear out fairly early in the evening. And looking into tomorrow, 91 high in Tallahassee. Those storms will return in the afternoon. New Orleans, 89. Houston, 93 there. And we do have some relief in sight for our temperatures as we can look at our map here. So around the Mississippi, Louisiana, this is a 70% chance that we will be below average temperatures for next week. This will be starting on July 24th, which is next Wednesday, through the remainder of the week there. And as we can look through Florida, we can see 40% chance that we'll be below average. But down in Miami, they'll still be suffering a little bit. It is very likely that they will see hotter than average temperatures there. I'm going to now pass things off to Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. And before we see the heat, the cooler temperatures across a lot of the southeast as we go into next week, a lot of us still have to deal with the heat and humidity. But for us, it's been pretty typical for this time of year. 94 degrees was our high before we got that thunderstorm at around 3:30 in the afternoon, and our lows have been a little bit above average when they should be for this time of year, 75 as our low. Now the current temperature with that thunderstorm moving around 3:30, 4 o'clock, the temperature has cooled down to 86 degrees. We're under those cloudy skies, but with the dew point of 78 degrees, feels much hotter than it actually is, 98 as your heat index. Now, the winds are relatively pretty light. The one exceptions are where the nearby thunderstorms, so like in Mariana, where you have a thunderstorm nearby, the wind speeds are a little bit higher because of the gusts from those thunderstorms, but overall they're relatively light. But all of us are dealing with these very high dew points, a lot of moisture coming out the Gulf, and as a result, dew points are well into the 70s, feeling very tropical and muggy out there. And when you combine those two, air temperatures that are in the upper 80s to low 90s are 5 to 10 degrees hotter than they actually are. So 91 air temperature in Mariana feels like 103, 86 in Tallahassee feels like 98. But a lot of us are near 100 or above the 100-degree mark in terms of your feel-like temperatures. Now, in terms of our satellite and radar, some of those sea breeze showers and thunderstorms have been popping up and dying off as they move off towards the north. Off towards Dothan, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that thunderstorm. But again, these thunderstorms should die off within the next 2 hours as we lose that daytime heating and the sun sets. And again, we're going to really have this typical pattern for the next few days before some changes do arrive next week from a cold front. So again, for tonight, those thunderstorms do die off with the daytime heating. We'll have those mostly cloudy skies, but the clouds will burn off in the morning, so we'll start off with mostly sunny skies. But then as we get past the lunchtime hour across 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, start to see the sea breeze move inland, moving from south to north. So those storms will also move from south to north as we go throughout the course of the afternoon. Pretty similar to what we've had the last 2 days, and in terms of coverage, around the 50 to 60% chance of having that shower and thunderstorm. And then the same thing as we go into Saturday, clear in the morning and then the afternoon, it will start to pop up with the showers and thunderstorms, but a little bit more concentration as we go off into the panhandle. So if you're a day planner for tomorrow, notice how the temperatures do heat up to around 90 degrees, but it feels like 100 degrees when you add in the humidity. And for your 7-day forecast, pretty typical shower chances as we head towards the weekend, and then some changes as we head into next week in terms of rain chances as that cold front that will develop into the southeast moves off into our region, and that will enhance the rainfall chances just a bit. Now let's send off back to the desk with the heat with Zach and Tyler.
Thanks, Michael. We actually had a heat wave that was going across much of the country this week. And the ironic thing is Florida was actually a lot cooler than usual for the summertime, but the rest of the country, very hot. The plains, the Midwest, and even some of the East Coast has really been heating up this week.
Then the southeast is sort of used to this, but now the east coast a little bit more to north around Virginia, maybe New Jersey. They're seeing some hotter than average temperatures. Looking at this map here, we're looking at our record warm low temperatures. So we're seeing some 80s as the morning lows up there in the northeast.
Yeah, and these heat indices are reaching a range of anywhere from 95 to 115 degrees. So a lot of these places aren't really used to that kind of heat. During the summertime, they're usually more moderate temperatures. We'd be feeling this kind of heat in like Florida or like especially like Phoenix, Arizona. But keeping this in mind, though, not really any widespread record breaks for heat besides the higher lows in the northeast.
And we do have some relief in sight. The Climate Prediction Center is saying that by next week in the 6 to 10 day forecast, we should start to see a little bit of relief getting back to roughly those average temperatures we saw in the southeast a little bit ago, that we are expected actually below average temperatures for most of the area, with the exception of maybe like the southern Florida, Miami area there.
Now I'm going to take things off to our national view, and I'm going to take a closer look at the rest of the country and kind of go a little bit more in depth with the kind of conditions that we're feeling. So currently, pretty hot everywhere across the country. Seattle, you're feeling pretty good at 70. San Francisco and LA feeling pretty great. But besides that, the rest of the country, really hot. You don't really see Denver hitting 99 too often. Our dew points, you can see the East Coast is really feeling the brunt of this, as well as the interior of the country. They have the really high dew points. Memphis at 76 right now, so is Kansas City. And then as you get down to Tallahassee, a dew point of 78 degrees, just very, very muggy, brutal conditions. And then as we move westwards, they do have that heat, but the dew point temperatures are not quite as high, so they're not feeling quite as bad over there. And our wind flow shows there's a general southerly flow for the interior of the country, getting some pretty high wind speeds in Dallas and Kansas City at 21 and 20 miles per hour. As we get to the west coast, they're bringing in some moisture for the very close cities to the west coast line from their sea breeze. Our upper level water vapor kind of shows us where we can expect to see rainfall happening, and that's situated mostly over Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and getting into Florida as well. And then the satellite radar pretty much shows this exactly. A lot of rain in the state of Georgia right now, as well as Florida, even moving into Tennessee and North Carolina. But we're going to take a look here at Wisconsin and Michigan. They had a lot of showers and storms moving through earlier. Now we just see some scattered rain moving past Minneapolis right now. But our Storm Prediction Center shows that Minneapolis has a 2 out of 5 risk for a severe storm to develop, a severe thunderstorm. And then as we get into the darker green, they only have a 1 out of 5 chance that's marginal. And then everywhere where you see light green, you're just expecting to see some thunderstorms that aren't quite so severe. But these storms could really help with the excessive heat that we're feeling in the interior parts of the country, St. Louis and Chicago, underneath a excessive heat warning. And the heat advisory goes into the afternoon hours, or the nighttime hours, showing how hot it's going to be until we hit the nighttime. And then the excessive heat watches, even getting into the East Coast, very hot. So this rain is going to help cool things down for everyone in those regions, really help out. And then as we move westward, fire weather warning for parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and Idaho. Even getting into Washington, they are a lot drier than us on the East Coast right now. And that's why they have dry conditions and it's very hot, so the chances of a wildfire sparking up is relatively high. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, though, most of our rain is going to be situated above Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. And for tonight, going to get into the mid to lower 70s for the East Coast, and then the West Coast going to be in the mid 50s. And then for tomorrow, going to be hot all throughout the country, except for the West Coast. Now I'm going to pass things off to Zach, and he's going to give us our final local look.
So our past 12 hours, we can see this temperature sort of start to rise as any typical day. Seeing high reach out about 94, about 2 p.m. this afternoon. Feels like temperature 105 degrees, and that 100 has been sticking around feeling like 100 since 12 p.m. And we didn't get much relief until about 4 o'clock, where we got a feels like into the high 90s, but I wouldn't really say that's much of a relief there. And our rainfall, we did see some rain come through. It's still sort of building out there, so we may still have some updates on these numbers come through, but we're seeing 6/100 of an inch out of the airport, and we are above normal roughly for our rainfall for the month, already seeing 5.19 inches of rain for the month of July. And our local temperatures, 86 sitting here in Tallahassee, a little bit warmer St. Mark's, 93, Sumatra also 93, and down by our coastal cities, 88 in Apalachicola, 89 in Caribou. And our radar showing some of those storms sort of trying to push through Tallahassee earlier this afternoon. But if we look over towards Dothan, we can see that there is a severe thunderstorm warning there. We can see a lot of lightning in the area, so if you're in that area, you may want to head inside, seek shelter there. A lot of lightning to watch out for in the area. And the big picture, we see just sort of these showers. A lot of Georgia, we see spotty showers across the region, and the peninsula area around Orlando, we can see some rain showers there. So a fairly rainy day across the southeast, as we would expect for the typical daytime heating pattern. And we have had a little bit of rain, so we're no longer in a drought here in Tallahassee. We are a little bit drier, though, in the Tallahassee area and a little bit north. But out towards Dothan, there's more in a severe drought. They're not seeing too much rain, so maybe that rainfall they're having right now will lead to a little bit of relief there. And wind speeds were fairly calm, not too much wind speeds. It seems to be pushing more from our west to our east. Tallahassee, one of the highest spots on the map, 8 mile per hour. Perry a little bit higher, 9 mile per hour there, and our coastal cities sitting at 7 and 8 mile per hour winds there. And our feels like temperatures, those dew points are a little bit high, so we are feeling pretty hot. We're sitting at 86, but our feels like temperature is 98 degrees here in Tallahassee. But a lot of our areas down by the coast, they're seeing feels like temperatures still in the 100s. St. Mark's feeling like 107, Caribou feeling like 105 there, and their actual temperature in Caribou is only 89 degrees there, so not even 90 degrees, but still feeling like triple digits there. And for the next couple of hours, we're going to see those storms sort of start to creep out, and we're going to start to see those showers creep out there, and they're going to sort of start to build up into the area tomorrow, and we're going to start to see more rain build into the forecast there. And thank you for tuning in to FSU Weather.